Coming up on today's episode of Airborne-Unlimited, CAF C47 Skytrain to commemorate World War II's end. New bill could put a major hit on low-level drone ops. FAA gives NOTAMs a makeover ahead of schedule. Welcome to Airborne Unlimited. I'm your host, Holland Lee. Let's get into today's stories. CAF C47 Skytrain to commemorate World War II end. The CAF's restored C-47 Skytrain, ready for duty, arrived at Maxwell AFB in Montgomery, Alabama on April 17th for the first stop in its Navy to Victory tour, recognizing the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. The tour will cover 12,000 miles as it makes 30 stops in 7 countries in the US and Europe, returning home to Lancaster, Texas on July 4th. The Ready for Duty is a meticulously restored Douglas R4D6S Skytrain, the U.S. Navy's version of the DC-3 and C-47, owned, operated, and maintained by the CAF Dallas-Fort Worth Wing. The aircraft will be carrying a sentimental cargo of 423 grave rubbings of British servicemen buried in the U.S. as part of the Bringing the Boys Back Home initiative. They perished during training at various bases and are buried in 71 cemeteries across 28 states. The non-destructive rubbings of the headstone engravings were gathered and photographed by the CAF to return to Europe. Stephen Rose, one of Ready for Duty's pilots, considers that a very meaningful part of the mission. Quote, "That to me is the real exciting part, that you know this airplane somehow had a history with a family or a person. That's kind of the cool stuff," end quote. After the break, astronaut Pettit and cosmonauts return from ISS mission. Welcome back. Now let's take a trip around the patch for some shorter stories. Astronaut Pettit and cosmonauts return from ISS mission. NASA astronaut Don Pettit and Roscosmos cosmonauts Alexei Ovchinin and Ivan Wagner are safely back after 220 days in space aboard the ISS, where Pettit conducted numerous research tasks associated with in-orbit 3D metal printing, water sanitation technologies, plant growth, and fire behavior in microgravity. Pettit also celebrated his 70th birthday upon landing in Kazakhstan. During the mission, officially designated Expedition 71 and 72, Pettit and crewmates completed 3,520 orbits of Earth, traveling about 93.3 million miles. After China balks, Malaysia wants Boeing delivery slots. The Chinese government in Beijing has apparently ordered its major air carriers Air China, China Eastern, and China Southern to cease all Boeing aircraft deliveries along with associated aviation-related equipment from U.S. companies. Malaysia Aviation Group is now in discussions with Boeing to possibly acquire the delivery slots that may become available if the China deliveries are indeed stopped. The managing director of MAG confirmed that the company views the tiff between China and Boeing as an opportunity to secure earlier delivery slots originally allocated to the Chinese airlines. Germany nixes Typhoon sail to Turkey. After the arrest of Istanbul mayor and outspoken opposition figure Ekrem İmamoğlu led to widespread protests across Turkey, the German government rescinded the export authorization for Turkey to purchase up to 40 Eurofighter Typhoon fighter jets. Germany labeled İmamoğlu's arrest as, quote, an attack on Turkish democracy. İmamoğlu was days away from being nominated as the Republican People's Party candidate for the 2028 presidential election when he was arrested on charges of corruption and alleged ties to the Kurdistan Workers' Party. Families push Boeing and DOJ for answers in 737 MAX case. The families of those killed in the 2018 and 2019 Boeing 737 MAX crashes are done waiting in the dark. They recently filed a motion in federal court urging the judge to set a firm deadline, May 5th, for Boeing and the Justice Department to reach a settlement in the ongoing fraud case tied to the crashes. A jury trial is currently set for June 23rd, and families deserve to know if that's really happening. That's it for today's trip around the patch. Let's get back to the rest of the news. New bill could put a major hit on low-level drone ops. For the fourth time since 2017, Congress is reviewing a bill that could completely reshape low-level drone flight in the U.S. The Drone Integration and Zoning Act would allow all 90,000 of the nation's local governments to regulate drones below 200 feet as they please. The concept was first introduced under the name Drone Federalism Act in 2017. The bill changed to its current title, Drone Integration and Zoning Act, when Senator Mike Lee brought it back to Congress in 2019, 2023, and now in 2025 as S1249. Despite the name change, the act maintained its purpose, to give state, local, and tribal authorities, as well as private property owners, the right to regulate drone activity in the immediate reaches of airspace above. The latest reboot of the bill, same as the others, would define the term immediate reaches of airspace as the area up to 200 feet above ground level. The jurisdiction to regulate this space would be handed to local governments. If they all choose to act on it, according to recent census records, there could be as many as 90,837 new restrictions for low-level drone operations. The airspace is currently regulated by the FAA. Since the act wouldn't lower the current FAA-mandated drone ceiling of 400 feet, remote pilots would follow local regulations up to 200 feet and federal ones for the next 200. After these messages, FAA gives NOTAMs a makeover ahead of schedule.
Looking for a new generation of proven and efficient aviation power plants that boast modern engineering, electronic ignition, and both direct and gear drive systems? With 100 horsepower to 240 horsepower, the Skyline and Redline engines offer uncommon value in an overpriced industry. Whether you are looking for fixed wing or rotor, MWFly Americas has been established to service the American market with dedication and expertise. MWFlyAmericas.com. The legendary BD4C program is building an exciting future for those who want a rugged four-seat family flyer with a proven history. The SureWings program produces a complete kit and builder assist program that gives you everything you need to be flying a BD4CS in record time. For conventional kit builders, BD Aviation has parts, partial kits, and full kits for the 190-mile-per-hour BD4C that has logged thousands of hours. Visit SureWings.com and BDAviation.com for more details.
Welcome back. FAA gives NOTAMs a makeover ahead of schedule. After a major NOTAM system outage caused a nationwide ground stop in 2023, the FAA finally decided it's ready to make a change. The agency is working with CGI Federal to get an upgrade in place sometime this year. On January 11, 2023, a contractor accidentally deleting a few files from the NOTAM database caused the first nationwide ground stop since 2001. More than 11,000 flights were disrupted in the more than 10 hours that the system was inoperative. Shortly after the incident, the FAA shared its plans to discontinue parts of the older NOTAM system in mid-2025. It also claimed it would have a replacement in place in 2030. However, the agency decided to step up its game by instating a vendor challenge that would skirt time-consuming government procedures. It landed in a partnership with CGI Federal to develop a NOTAM modernization service. If all goes to plan, the system will be handed to the FAA in July 2025 and deployed by September 2025. Though this is ahead of schedule on federal terms, the aviation industry has been not so patiently awaiting change for years. For a system that holds so much responsibility over flight safety by providing runway closure, airspace change, and obstruction data to pilots, keeping NOTAMs operational should be high on the priority list. That's our show for today. You can catch episodes of Airborne on YouTube, Roku, or Fire TV. Just search for Aero-News or Airborne. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Thanks for watching.